We are back with the Buffalonian podcast to celebrate a Bills win and preview the next game. I mean, this is pretty exciting stuff. We got a little mishmash of betting on the Bills in the regular episode here for you. I'm Joe Cali, joined by none other than Dom Loss. And Dom, you know, I mentioned the Bills win. Should I say an agonizing win for at least our blood pressure, anything along those lines for how that...
Our long-term heart...
Yeah, long-term heart health, anything along those lines, because... let me tell you, until, 7:16, 7 minutes and 16 seconds left, there really wasn't any juice in the veins anymore after that first drive. It was the start, and then it completely went away, and then it finished strong. So it was kind of crazy. We're going to get to a Dom 5. I have a couple players I want to highlight, but before we do that, just base thoughts, base reactions. How are you feeling? Did you have faith when they were down 15?
No.
No? See, I had blind optimism, but I don't know if I had faith they were actually going to do it. I think that's where I was at.
I think, you know what the funny part about the whole thing is, honest to God, is that if you would have said it was 40-25, at 40-25 that the Bills would need 3 stops to win.
Yeah.
But it's like at that point, like 2 positions tie the game, maybe they win the coin toss in overtime and win 46-40. But
right.
To say not only will they not get the 2-point conversion to tie the game at 15 that they needed, they also need another stop then to kick a field goal to win. But yeah, it was it's kind of funny how the Matt Prater, the kicker kind of got swept on the rug until the last minute of the game. I was like, oh yeah, he actually might be needed.
Yeah. Didn't you call that on the last episode too?
I did. Thank you.
Said Matt Prater.
I did say, I also did say they were losing when he was kicking and then they were going to win. I predicted a 30-28 win. A little off, but
hey, it was a good high scoring game for fantasy owners. Anyone who had Derrick Henry, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Keon Coleman, Zay Flowers all had good days too. So it was a good fantasy manager weekend, but unfortunately one of those teams had to lose, and it was the Baltimore Ravens, believe it or not, at this point. It has settled in, and
which is a critical win for the Bills.
Very critical win for the Bills. Very critical win for the Bills. So, it's intriguing to me how they were able to come out with that, but listen, I have to just highlight a couple players here. I'm not going to go super in-depth. I just want to really push on it. Ed Oliver played like an all-pro, all right? He had a phenomenal game, which now he's in a boot, we find out today, which is like catastrophic in my mind, but we'll get to that. But he played his heart out. He got the big fumble that really swung the momentum. Also, Josh Allen, nonetheless, able to do what he does. And Keon Coleman really played really well. I mean, Allen and Coleman, that connection looks a lot more stable this year, especially Keon had that wrist injury last year. So he was out for some time and he couldn't really jump the way they wanted him to in his rookie season. But Allen putting up a whole game stat line in about 7 minutes is pretty remarkable. Not that it needed to, but this game most definitely secured the MVP conversation, if you ask me. I 100% think that Josh Allen now, I mean, you heard both teams, MVP whenever Lamar did anything, whenever Josh did anything, but it's pretty undeniable at this point that the MVP race was won by Josh Allen.
Agree.
And with Allen's MVP, now it being really cemented, you saw the national talking heads say that. Nick Wright was even one to say it. Rich Eisen, Jim Rome, all across social media. I think the only thing, and we'll get into it, I assume you might in your Dom 5, was just play calling question marks. It wasn't necessarily a specific performance point on Josh Allen. He did what he could, especially at the end there. But I think play calling got a little weird there throughout the middle of the game, but it was unlocked towards the end. So without further ado, though, I'll kick it to you. That's my little spiel on a couple players. What do you got for the Dom 5? First one of the 2025 season.
So the first one for the Dom 5, number 1, Josh Allen.
I 100%. Whatever you say, I agree. There's no other way to go about it.
Yeah, I mean, I thought Josh was kind of in command. Obviously, I think his presence and leadership, I think, was the main factor of why they were able to win the game. I think, he threw for 400 yards, rushed for 2 touchdowns, which now he's officially in sole position of first place on the all-time Bills rushing touchdown list. He was tied with Thurman.
Past Thurman. Yeah, which is crazy. Quarterback passes a running back. But
yeah, now I think he's 8 away from tying Cam Newton's record for a quarterback.
Oh, wow.
And 9 from passing him. So he should do that this year.
Jeez.
Which is cool. But yeah, I mean, he was amazing. Obviously, everyone was talking about in the locker room how much he was calm, cool, and collected. And that's big for your leadership. I think in years past, Josh may have gotten like emotional and all that, but I think you've seen him mature, and it's again, he not only was he doing what he was doing on the field, dominating, but I think off the field, giving that belief in the players and in the team
Yeah.
That it wasn't over till it's over, and it wasn't over until it was over, and she definitely made the fans.
Yeah, he made him regret that and come out. And he was more calm, cool, and collected on that final drive than he was in the first drive. Like you could tell,
he was juiced.
He
for
was
the
jittery on the first drive. He was ready to go.
First drive, he was juiced. Number 2, the Buffalo Bills. Terry Pagula. He bought the $100 million yacht or whatever. He needs to find a way to get some money and buy Big Ed a horse. Well, I don't know if he could do that because we don't want to, be a Kawhi Leonard situation, circumvent the cap.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
But,
you gotta watch out. You gotta watch out. Might have to sell partial ownership again to cover that. I mean, who knows?
But no, I mean, big game from Ed. Made a lot of splash plays. He was easily their best. I think you can make a case. Definitely sans Josh, but even Josh included that he was the best player on the Bills.
Ed had the most memorable performance, I would say. Even though, even with Josh Allen doing what he did, you remember Ed Oliver's, the punch outs, the sacks, all of it.
Big sack.
Yes.
On the first try to hold him to 3 points.
Chris Collinsworth, that's the best sack I've seen in a long time, he says on the broadcast. I'm like, what are we talking about here?
I guess that was the first sack. Well, no, I guess he did Thursday night, so I don't know.
He did. He said both of Ed's sacks. He said the other one was also the best one.
Crazy didn't get credit for that sack. I think that Milano got credit for it.
Oh, even though he finished it out.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, the forced fumble obviously was impactful in the run game, and yeah, that's very exciting. Obviously, it's really unfortunate now with the injury. That was probably his best performance in a year.
Yeah,
I think a big talking point last year was, where is that Oliver? And now it's nice to see that game 1 for the season saw the impact. I mean, he did 2 years ago in 23, the big sack against the Chargers and all that, to end that game. Like, we've seen him take over games and moments, and for him to come up big in obviously a big spot in week 1 against a rival in the Ravens.
More than a rival. I mean, look at where they're at in the AFC standings. I know it's after 1 week and whatever, but that puts them over the Ravens game in hand right away.
Game and a half lead now.
Game and a half lead, and you're a game up ahead of the Chiefs already after week 1. So 2 of your biggest reasons you're out of the Super Bowl are behind you right now. So keep them there. And Ed Oliver was a huge part as to why that was able to happen. So
yeah, and a lot of teams won. They also play, like they play Pittsburgh, they play Cincinnati still. So yeah, obviously it's a big time moment. Number 3, Matt Prater pulls a Justin Pugh.
Yeah. Yes.
I don't know if people remember this, but it was 2 years. Yeah, 2 years ago when the Bills played the Giants on Sunday Night Football. Justin Pugh was an offensive lineman for the Giants who was signed straight off the couch, and he said that in his Sunday Night Football intro. And now Matt Prater was generally signed off the football field because he was helping coaches his son's football team. But yeah, I think the same thing kind of applies.
Oh yeah, that was the. Yeah, it's like bringing AJ Klein back to take on the Kansas City Chiefs in the divisional playoff round. Like, except this is even crazier because he's never been a part of your organization. He is legitimately
first game as a Bill.
Yes, and he is able to do that. It was pretty remarkable. I love the comments of everyone in the locker room thought he was a coach coming in. Like, you see Jackson Hawes saying it, Khalil Shakir saying it, and they're like, "Oh, that's Matt Prater."
I was pretty impressed not only with the pure kicking the extra points and the field goal, but also his ability on special teams.
Right.
Like, I think people forget now with the kickoff rules, it is a different animal with how important you need your kicker or punter or whoever is going to kick off. The 35 is a massive advantage to the offense, and you've seen teams now unwilling to give that up, and you have to be able to land it in the landing zone and also make it at least hard play to catch and all that. So, yeah, big performance from Matt Prater. He was also my first ever fantasy football kicker.
Was he really?
In 2013 when we won the championship. We drafted Peyton Manning in the first round. And it got laughed at, but that was the year he threw for 55 touchdowns.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, Matt Prater was the original. He kicked a 64-yard field goal that year. Had the NFL record. So yeah, good for Matt Prater, and good for I mean, really everyone involved, the Bills other than the Ravens, to find a way to get it done at home. Number 4, everybody eats.
Yes.
Palmer 4 for 62. Keon went 8 for 112 and a touchdown. I thought Kincaid played well with 4 catches and a touchdown. James Cook had a rushing touchdown, a big play through the air. Shakir kind of had his normal, 60 plus yards.
Yes.
Knox had a couple catches. I thought Ty Johnson should have got that touchdown pass.
Should have.
Elijah Moore with an end around. But yeah, I mean, Jackson Hall actually had a big catch. Like, I think you saw the quantity of weapons. Elijah Moore with an end around. So I think that was very exciting to see, very promising. And Keon making the plays was.
Yeah, I mean, you
Nice.
heard all offseason about different guy. I mean, Deion Dawkins, the most notable interview on First Things First on FS1, saying Keon's a dog. He's a different guy. He's a different kid. He's not the same kid. And I think you saw that in action Sunday night. Yeah, Sunday night. I had to remember back to when that was. But yeah, you saw that in action. As soon as they started throwing outside on the perimeter, he was there. A contested catch, he brought it down. The one that really, on that first drive where they started to really get things going on the 7 minute and 16 seconds, like where the 7-1-6 comeback started, where he goes just flying into the air and brings it down. Like that, I mean, that's all you can ask for from a big wide receiver like that. And even he put the moves on. I don't know who it was in the second. Alexander. He put the moves on him. That's not something you would have seen Keon Coleman doing last year. Granted, I think it was for the best he got tripped because that set up the game.
No, he was definitely scoring. He was housing that.
Yep, completely blinded by oh my God, the end zone's right in front of me, and I have two safeties closing in on my side, the safety and cornerback closing in from his right. But thank God he got tripped because, I mean, you never know. Derrick Henry was busting out 90-yard runs on like one play. So you never know what could have happened in 40. They would have had about 40 seconds. So good thing he got tripped up. But yeah, Keon, all those guys, I think it was, the fourth quarter really is with the stat line we're looking at, but it was a good stat line for sure.
And then number 5, I had to come with somewhat of a negative one because we can't be all
sunshine and rainbows here. Yeah.
Is Bobby Babbage the new Ken Dorsey?
I think he could be.
I think we're running a little bit low on time. I think, listen, at the end of the day, Leslie Frazier got kicked out. McDermott was a one and done as a defensive play caller.
That was their best season, though, arguably on defense.
Yeah, it was a good season. I still think the Frazier defenses were better, and I think we're starting to kind of get to a gray area with Babbage. Like, this is a team that it wasn't a great defense last year, struggled in the playoffs. Now it's like week 1, and it still didn't look good. It's hard not to be a little concerned. Like, Ken Dorsey got a season, and then he got 10 games or 5-5 when they fired him.
Yeah.
So it's not like there isn't some type of precedent of McDermott making a move, and it would be a drastic move. I don't know who would take over play calling. It would be maybe Ryan Nielsen, who they brought in.
Could be McDermott.
Maybe just McDermott himself.
He might just take it.
I think we're starting to get to the, I gotta start seeing this team be better on defense. The play calling has to get better. Obviously, I think the players have to be better. I don't think the D-line was as bad as people thought they were, just because you had the expectation, you guys are just getting gashed in the run.
Yeah.
I think a lot of it was the safeties. Mostly T-Rap instead of Cole Bishop, which I never quite understood why they were so okay with Taylor not improving upon Taylor Rapp.
Yeah, they kind of solidified him as the starting, just starter.
I just never understood that. I just think he's like an average safety.
He's an average safety who likes to spear into people and get injured.
Yeah,
he's a liability.
Lano didn't look good, and then Terrell Bernard is either banged up or we have really overrated who Terrell Bernard is as a player.
Yeah,
season, that's very concerning because they also paid him $50 million over 4 years.
Right.
Maybe he's a little banged up, but he also did not have a good game either.
No, and you expect turnovers out of him. That's why he got the big money, right? I mean, he had a season where he was just plucking interceptions out of the sky. So, and that's where we looked at Tremaine Edmonds and we were like, oh, what a step up. Like, Tremaine had the tackles, don't get us wrong, but Terrell Bernard can bring the turnovers.
Splash plays.
Yeah, we're not seeing any of those. I mean,
he recovered the fumble, but
he did. It's week 1 too, but we'll see.
We'll see what happens. But I think the defense needs to. Listen, it's also a great insult. Week 1, as you said. Also, the Ravens are literally the worst matchup for this Bills defense.
Yeah.
So we'll see, but
they're built to run circles around this Bills defense.
Yeah. And they did for most of the night until the end of the fourth quarter.
Yeah, until Derrick Henry gets his one of two fumbles per season. In week 1. So that one of those has been expended. But yeah, pretty exciting overall. Is that 5? I didn't count it. Was that 5?
Yeah, that was 5.
Yeah, that was 5. One thing I wanted to ask you, you mentioned the defense. The offense, the first drive, Josh looked like sugar high Josh. Like he hadn't played in the preseason. He got out there, just almost picked off and everything like that.
Then he absolutely ripped one to Kincaid.
Yeah, ripped it. But for the most of the game, I felt like we were looking at drives where it was run, screen, punt, run, screen. You know what I'm saying? Like they weren't stretching the field by any means. They were kind of just playing behind the line of scrimmage. And I feel like, I'm all for not abandoning the run, right? I think the run game needs to be established. Don't get me wrong. But if you're getting just walloped and no points are coming in your direction, they ended up opening up the field, and that's what the fourth quarter was. Should they have done that sooner, you think? Or,
No,
like, what do you think?
I don't think so.
No?
I mean, at the end of the day, like, the drives you're talking about, I don't really feel like there was specifically wrong with the play calls. I think the players executed very poorly.
Okay.
Like the second drive, for example, they get 9 yards on first down. Now, I'm not gonna lie, maybe they should. You're right. Maybe they should have been a little bit more aggressive. Hey, you have second and one. Be aggressive on this down. You have third down.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't, and they get stuffed twice. I don't know if that's really play calling fault. Like you have a good offensive line, you have good backs.
Right.
Like you should have been able to execute enough up front to get the yard or two that you need, and they didn't. Right. So I don't know if I view that in coaching. I just view that in poor execution. And then the third drive, like you start off with a screen pass to Keon, which probably could get you 4 to 5 yards to start the drive, and he drops it. So then it's like, all right, now you're in second and long. You get to third and manageable. Josh kind of gets fooled on like thought pressure is coming, so he checks to the like. I think that's what also is very true. Is like Josh has gotten so much better as the mental side, like the James Cook play when no one understood this. When Chris Collinsworth was saying that was all Josh Allen, he wasn't saying this was the outcome of the play was all Josh Allen. Like obviously, yeah, James Cook broke 2 tackles and almost housed it. Mm-hmm. What he was saying is that Josh Allen identified pressure pre-snap, checked to a great play, and the play ended up working because he I hated that.
Yeah,
all the Ravens fans are like, how was this Josh Allen? It's like
he changed the play to get it to what it was.
And then obviously on third down, he gets fooled a little bit. They do the screen, Kincaid slips, and then he fumbles. That went out of bounds. So, like, I don't know. I mean, they ran the ball not great, but I also thought, like, even when they were down, they still were committed to running the ball a little bit, and they were still getting some yards. But, I mean, it's hard. It's hard to really blame the offense because
I know the Ravens also were throwing everything they possibly could at the Bills.
Well, I mean, it's hard to blame the offense because they had 19 points going into the fourth, which isn't a lot. But they also scored right away, pretty much on the drive that they had going in the fourth. So they had 25 points. Mm-hmm. And then obviously what happened at the end. So I think the offense did its fair share. I also think they're also a reason why they were down by so many points because, again, the second and third drives, they just failed to execute. And all of a sudden,
Baltimore.
from being up 7-3, where you could have been like, wow, if we score here and go up 14-3, you're not. The Ravens, are they going to stick with their run game?
No.
Probably not as much.
They try and move it right down the field. Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. We're going to see a lot more Lamar throwing. He only threw 19 times. So I think that would have changed the games. It's a little bit of everything. Yeah, I mean, listen, the offense, that's great. The offense still has things to work on. Defense has a lot of things to work on. Heck, even special teams have stuff to work on because they cut the punter after the game.
Yeah, they did.
Imagine being Brad Robbins holding the ball for Matt Prater as he kicks it to the upright, and that is your last play as a Buffalo Bill.
I mean, it would be a crazy moment, but also that punt. I mean, his punting was not phenomenal.
Oh, I mean, it's well deserved. I mean, this is a guy 2 years ago.
Like, this is Matt Hawk level of
2 years ago. He was literally the worst punter in the NFL. Didn't punt last year. All the comments, were like when they cut Camardo, it was like, yeah, it doesn't really mean we're gonna roll with him. Right, so it wasn't like they were like endorsing him that he won the job that much. And he was literally out of 32 punters in the NFL, was the worst punter in week 1.
Yep,
by a considerable margin. So they got Bill Burr on the team now.
Was cutting Sam Martin worth that couple million in cap space?
I don't know. Sam Martin was above average punter in week 1.
He was
for Carolina, but
he was. Cameron
Johnston now, who has had a good career punting for Houston. He was injured when he was the Steelers. So, and also again, with a new kicker, it's not like Robbins had a bunch of chemistry of Prater or has a lot of chemistry of Bass either. So it's not like when he comes back, it's like, oh man, we had to adapt to this new holder. It was probably going to still be a work in progress anyway. So I like that they were able to say, hey, we have a problem.
Yeah, they brought in Bill Burr.
They have a problem. We're going to fix it.
He looks like Bill Burr.
I said
or
that
Sean
already.
McDermott. Yeah. Yeah, one of the two. But
yeah, I mean, listen, it's an important win for the Bills to get to the Super Bowl. And you could say it's week 1, 100% true. But having this tiebreaker over Baltimore is going to be massive down the stretch because now, it gives you a little safety net against them. That if you tie them in record, you have the advantage. And we'll see what happens with the Chiefs. The AFC South, Houston loses. Like, that division didn't look great. I know Indianapolis kicked the absolute crap out of Miami. Like, the AFC East, The Jets looked like the second best team in the
They
AFC
did.
East. So I know we're going to talk about that in a second, but
Yeah, they just so happen to be the opponent next
this so happens to be the opponent next week. But the important thing for the Bills now is this was their toughest game before they played Kansas City, which is not happening until I think week 9.
Right.
Like if you look at it, it's the Jets, it's Miami at home, it's New Orleans at home, it's the Patriots at home. You do have to go to Atlanta, who looked like a solid team on Monday night. Bye. You go to Carolina, who looked awful. Like this next, 6-game stretch, like man, if the Bills can go like 5-1 and be 6-1 going into that Chiefs game,
yeah,
like
possibly could be 6-0 going into the bye.
Yeah, you'd really like your chances of them getting. The second half is going to be difficult if Kansas City, Cincinnati, Pittsburgh looked pretty decent.
Yeah, Rodgers,
Philly, like it's going to get a little harder down the stretch, but massive win. And
one thing to note, just to finish up on the AFC standings and stuff, the possibility of the 1 seed. The Ravens and Chiefs play each other in week 4 too. So before you meet up with the Chiefs, they see the Ravens. So that game, I mean, you'd like the Ravens to honestly beat the Chiefs, I think, because then you go already ahead of Kansas City because of the opponent thing. And then if you beat Kansas City, then you're way ahead of them. If it comes down to a close record contest, that's just like for technicalities that way.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, we'll see. I think it's all about playing good ball. The Bills haven't really had a great opportunity at the 1 seed ever. If we're being realistically honest, they just haven't.
No, and people try and say the DeMar Hamlin incident year, Cincinnati was beating the brakes off you that game if you played it. That would have been an L.
If you look at it, 2020, they had no chance. They lost the tiebreaker to the Chiefs, and the Chiefs had a better record than them. There was no chance they were ever going to get the 1 seed. 21 was just, they were 7-6 at one point, dead in the water. 22, again, was the weird, with the whole DeMar thing and what could have been. So that was probably their best chance.
Yep.
Right. 23, 6-6, so dead in the water.
Dead in the water.
No chance. And then last year, they were 13-3. I know they lost the last game, but again, the Chiefs lost 1 game all year. No, to you guys.
They had voodoo magic the entire season.
Not really a great chance to ever get the 1 seed. Now it feels like for the first time. I know it's only week 1. It feels like they're in the driver's seat now with their schedule.
Mm-hmm.
Their schedule is far easier than the Texans' schedule, the Ravens' schedule, the Chiefs' schedule, anyone in the AFC West or the main teams in the AFC North.
Yes.
Massive opportunity. So
they do.
We'll see.
And, infighting in those divisions now, getting a little more competitive can also promote that. So speaking of infighting in divisions, we have a divisional opponent coming up this week, as Dom alluded to. The New York Jets. The Bills are heading to the Meadowlands. Look like the second best team in the AFC East. Justin Fields, that's their new coordinator there, is from the Lions quarterback coaching position. The Lions also not looking great without all their coordinators. That's neither here nor there. But Justin Fields and that offense seemed to be doing well. And they played Aaron Rodgers. That was big. You heard Aaron Rodgers after that game say, it was good to beat the Jets and all that, right? He might have a Brett Favre in Minnesota-esque year after his Jets stint, but the jury's still out. It's just week 1. But the Justin Fields, the New York Jets, they looked solid. They put up a solid number of points, and they're not anything to scoff at going into week 2. You played the team that's totally matched up to destroy you in the Baltimore Ravens, and you ended up winning by the skin of your teeth because they honestly collapsed more than anything. I mean, let's just be honest. But
showed also, showed the impact of that game being played in Buffalo and not Baltimore.
Exactly.
Which again would be big play time. But I think it's interesting that they play every team in the AFC East very Jets
quickly.
This week, next week Dolphins, 2 weeks after that they play the Pats.
For the rivalry jersey game, that's right.
For the rivalry jersey games.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, last year we didn't play the Pats till December.
Yeah, you play them twice in the last 3 weeks of the season.
So
you didn't know what you were getting.
Definitely going to see what the division is made of. I think the Jets are an interesting matchup for the Bills. I don't think it's a good matchup for the Bills defense.
No.
They're very much kind of like Baltimore from the perspective of they have a very good offensive line. They're 2 young tackles. Fiascio, who was a second-year player, looked really good at left tackle, and Armand Membu, who was their top 10 draft pick. He also looked really good at right tackle. Their interior looked pretty solid, even though they lost Ver Tucker. Chris Hall looked really explosive, and he's given the Bills kind of fits of his athleticism. And obviously, Justin Fields can run. And the Bills have also had a hard time covering Garrett Wilson at times. Now, I will say, I don't think Breece Hall is as good as Derrick Henry.
No, agree 100%.
So I obviously Lamar Jackson is worlds better
than Justin Fields
and is a way better thrower. And I don't think at all the Jets have any of the secondary weapons like the Ravens. Like the Ravens, outside Zay Flowers, still have D-Hop, who caught that one-handed touchdown.
All things he said, that was a beautiful catch.
Yeah. Man, who's a solid player. Justice Hill's an interesting backup. Running back Mark Andrews. The Jets really don't have anyone. I mean, they even healthy scratched Allen Lazard. I don't think there's any like massive worry outside Garrett Wilson in the passing game. So I think that's where the Bills defense can go. It's going to be interesting to see. Trey White is practicing. Bills have been pretty conservative injuries. I think it was a good sign that Dorian Strong can at least play and be. Was he great? No. Was he terrible? No.
No, he's serviceable.
He was serviceable.
Yeah.
Right? And that's what you wanted out of a sixth-round rookie. That is a perfectly fine start.
And if he goes up from there, if that's his floor, that's fine by me.
Exactly. He's going to get better. So I think I'd be even okay giving Trey White the week. Obviously, Ed being banged up is a massive red flag. Jordan Phillips may have to be called up from the practice squad, right, with the 2 rookie DTs, if that's the case. So I think that will be interesting. I think the edges will have interest. Edges, Bosa, Groot, who I thought both played pretty solid on Sunday against
Bosa settled in after a little bit of a
young, good tackles. We'll see. AJ was massively disappointing. And Javon Salmon's like kind of more of a special teams 4th edge. I don't think Landon Jackson's going to play in this one again. Hopefully a bounce back from the second level too with the safeties and Milano and Bernard. But yeah, I think it's what do you think? I think it is a tough matchup. However, I think that Justin Fields not being quite as big of a pass threat and also the Jets' weapons not being quite as good as the Ravens' weapons, I think at least give you some confidence that they could bounce back.
Yeah, you're going to see a Walmart version of Week 1, in my opinion, and
Walmart's pretty good though.
Wally World, listen, it sounded like a slight. It's one of my favorite places.
That was a little disrespectful.
A little bit. What would be the better one then?
Dollar Tree?
No, I like the Dollar Tree.
Yeah, but it's like a Dollar Tree version.
Sure, whatever. Dollar Tree version. It probably makes the most sense actually because they don't have it's not like they have a 1-for-1 like comp on like number of weapons or anything like that, like you were saying. Their secondary is basically like Sauce Gardner at that point. But I think it is an interesting matchup. It's a divisional opponent, so you always kind of have to take that into consideration, even though it's the first time they're meeting up. But I do think, it'll be interesting to see if the Bills can tighten up containing a rushing quarterback, tighten up containing the run, not letting Breece Hall just annihilate them up the middle and get big chunk yards. Derrick Henry is basically tripping and getting 9 yards per carry. Like just, he wasn't even upright for half of it and still doing that. So if they can limit that and hopefully, Jordan Phillips can actually come in and do something and we see a lot. I want to see more out of the rookies. I know they helped Ed Oliver out big time, but I want to see them step up in a moment where Ed Oliver
has some
is unable. Yeah, especially their size. And you see the flashes in the preseason. I get it. It's against second, third team or offenses. But it would still be nice to start seeing some flashes out of them because we're relying on them from week 1 on. Like they're in the trenches. So that'd be nice to see. And I would love to see the linebackers, like you said, Milano, Bernard, especially Milano, because Milano in the preseason, like everybody's calling him all pro, Matt. That was a little soon for me. Like he's playing against second team, whatever, and they're not scheming against each other at all. So it was a little early for me, but if Milano can get back there, wreak some havoc like he used to, that's something I'm excited about too.
Yeah. I think offensively, I just think the Bills are going to have I think
they'll have their way with them.
Have their way.
Yeah, they'll catch them with their pants down.
I think, the last time Josh Allen played an Aaron Glenn defense, he put 48 points on his head.
Yes.
But no, honestly, the Jets D-line is solid, right? Quinn Williams played really good. I think McDonald and Jermaine Johnson both looked pretty good on the edges. So they have their handful, I think, with that. But I think their secondary, their safeties suck. Their safeties are Bills level safeties.
Yes.
And if they play Brandon Stevens, who just gets picked down relentlessly opposite Sauce Gardner, like they're just going to keep throwing at him. So I think the Bills.
I also think Keon and Sauce are a good matchup too, though.
Not for Keon.
No?
No.
I think maybe this season you might be able to do something with it.
Not a chance.
You don't think so? Even with what we saw last week, contested catches, you don't think he'll be able to do anything?
No, Sauce is like one of the most physical corners in the game.
You got to remember, though, AJ Epinesa had more picks than him like 2 seasons ago. So I don't know.
Okay.
You got to see if he bounces back.
Good one. Oh, my God. But no, I will say, I have a Sauce point in a second, but I think the Bills can, if they can run the football, be a little bit more effective on the ground, I think can open up some play action because last week they didn't run play action. I think they only did on 11% of dropbacks. And Josh is amazing at play action. I'm starting to get to the point where Josh just doesn't like play action. It's weird to say because he's so elite, but it's like every time when someone goes, they need to get the play action up, I'm starting, you know how every quarterback has, it's like the play that they like? I'm just starting to think that Josh doesn't like it.
Yeah.
Like, you know what? We talk about Joe Burrow doesn't like going under center because he doesn't like turning his back to the defense.
Mm-hmm.
That's why even they run the ball out of shotgun. I'm starting to think that maybe Josh just doesn't like running play action.
The only play action he seems to like is the boot. Like that, like rolling out.
Yeah,
you know, like that's it. He doesn't.
I don't
There's
know.
no fake handoffs, right? He's just, yeah.
Completely being, don't have any insight on that, but like it's been now multiple years where like, why aren't they doing more play action? And other than maybe the coordinator, it's like, who else to blame? And it's like, this is Josh Allen's offense at the end of the day.
If
Josh wants more play action, they will do more play action.
If he doesn't, they're not going to give it to him. So,
yeah.
I mean, last season, though, I remember they were running play action, like, and Allen was just unbelievable, like you said. So it might be a personal thing. He just might not like something about it. Who knows?
But we'll see. I think if run the ball sub play action game, I think it will be interesting to see, because Sauce Gardner really did for the first time in his career foul a wide receiver. He fouled DK Metcalf. I think he guarded him on like 30 or 34 routes or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be interesting if we see him foul a receiver. If not,
if he's kind of all over,
maybe that shows what people think about the Bills. Like, there's maybe not one person, but that's not really negative. I mean,
it's just the mantra everybody eats, right? You don't really know, so they might have him loop around maybe on Shakir a little bit.
But I think this is going to be a big game for Dalton Kincaid.
Oh, I hope so.
I think matched up against the safeties for the Jets are not good, and I think the Bills will take advantage. And the Jets like to play a lot of man coverage, and the Bills, that's been a weak spot for the Bills passing game. But they were really good on Sunday against man coverage against the Ravens. So
that they were.
I'm very intrigued to see. This could be a big Josh Allen rushing game, because if they're going to play man, usually that allows the quarterback then to, kind of, if he could break contain, no one's has eyes on him, so he could run for a lot of yards. It'd be interesting if they changed it up. But if they're really aggressive, Josh kills the blitz. I think this is a really good matchup for the Bills offense. I don't think it's the best matchup for the Bills defense. However, I don't think the Jets have quite enough to scare me on the Bills defensive end, but the Bills still need to play a lot. If the Bills play the way they did it on Sunday night, they will get up 30 plus points. If they can bounce back and play better, I think they can do a solid job. So, with that being said, do you have kind of an X factor for the Bills?
I kind of
the dub.
Alluded to it. It's not the same Jets team from years past. I know that, but historically, I think Matt Milano's played really well against the Jets. I think he wakes up in this game, really shows that he is back. I would like to see him getting back there. I mean, all-pro Matt, let's not go that far, but seeing him at least contribute in a big way, get maybe a sack or two or big pressure, even make a big tackle for a fumble or something like that, stopping the run big. I think he's capable of it. He and Bernard were around the area last week against Baltimore, but I want to see them be the center of it this time. I think Milano would be a big one. What about you?
I just think the X factor is going to be the Bills' interior defensive line.
Yeah.
Without Oliver, I think if they're able to show up and play good ball, I think they'll be completely fine. Get some pressure on Fields, be smart. The Bills, however badly they were defensively, they at least on passing plays did a really good job of keeping Lamar in the pocket.
Yes.
I know the one run where he ran for 76 yards, okay, that was kind of just like a fluke. That's Lamar being Lamar. You're going to get a couple of those. But if they can do that against Fields and really like make some turnovers, I think you could see some negative plays. So
yeah, make them claustrophobic.
I think the interior defensive line, especially TJ Sanders and DM Walker, I think are going to be massive. Without further ado, do you have a prediction?
I do. I'm just thinking possibility wise here. I'd say I think the Bills do put up 35 points. The Jets, I don't really know what to think. Like the Bills defense wise, I think they're going to hold them to a solid amount. I would say probably 35-14 Bills. I think they handle them very well on the offensive side, but and the defense does a pretty good job too, only holding them to 2 scores.
I think it's going to be 35-24 Bills.
Oh, a little closer. Yeah.
I think the Bills are going to score in the mid-30s in points. I think they'll give up some points, give up some plays that people are going to be mad about. But yeah, I think the Bills end up getting this done, which is nice because it's a divisional game on the road at a place that the Bills notoriously have kind of struggled. I know they won last year in New York, but they lost. I think the last couple times they lost the Monday night game against Rodgers, and they lost that weird Zach Wilson kind of had a good game where Josh got injured on his elbow.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think the Bills get it done and start a winning streak in New Jersey.
All right, I like it. I like it a lot. That's going to do it, though, I think, for this, right? Anything else we want to add in? No.
No.
That's going to do it for this edition of the Buffalonian podcast. A little bit of betting on the Bills mixed in for this week. Next week, we'll be on, well, we're going to try and get on a regular schedule because it's Thursday Night Football for week 3. So it's not, we're probably going to come back on Tuesday and then do a game prediction for Thursday. It's probably going to be all in one again. Another one of these, and then we'll get back onto a regular schedule. It's exciting time. NFL is officially back. We'll see how the Bills settle in as the season goes on after we get further and further away from week 1. I'm intrigued to see, to say the least. But Dom, how do we always end these, buddy?
Go Bills, baby.
Go Bills.